Y'all what it is. Y'all know what it is. It's our favorite day of the week. It's Pod Day. Y'all know what it is, man. Welcome back to More Than the Title, episode 188. You know, I'm your host as usual, Jarrett, Chief Revenue Officer at Outside the Box Digital. And you know, I got my brother, my brethren, your favorite CEO, Chadeo. What's good, baby?
In the building, man. It's Pod Day, man. It's Pod Day. I got to get the horns for the Pod Day.
Of course, we've been partying like a motherfucker. Right? We've been partying out here, bro.
It's Pod Day, and ladies and gentlemen, you know how we like to start each and every show. G&T, grateful and thankful. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And we going back to the G as always. Grateful for the fact that we got a chance to wake up and see another day, right? Grateful that we got a chance to tell our loved ones that we love them, right? We got a chance to tell them motherfuckers we don't like you, motherfucker. And we got a chance to be thankful for all the people that, you know, have been a part of our journey to get us to this point. And we're thankful for this guest, Big Court, that's coming on today. He's going to share his journey with us, his experiences, right? The highs, the lows, the goods, the bads, and he's going to be vulnerable with you guys, and he's going to drop some gems. So once again, we're grateful and we're thankful. And listen, without you guys, there can't be no us. You know what it is? Another phenomenal show, because I'm going to say it ahead of time. Another phenomenal guest on the show. And we haven't steered you wrong. You know what it is. G&T, baby.
Yes, sir. It's a shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to everybody on Twitch, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, growing and glowing every week. And also, before we start, we got to give it back love to the home team. You know, shout out to the Live Podcast Network, first woman-owned, black-owned podcast network in the world, and one of the largest Black-owned podcast networks in the world. So if you want more content from creators like More Than the Title, make sure y'all take out your phone, scan the QR code, download it, and half of your subscription goes to the content creators of your choice. You dig? Nobody doing it like that. Out to the boss lady and the Alive team, man. What a time to be alive. You dig?
What a time to be alive. I like it.
Yeah. With that said, you already intro. We're gonna get his brother the intro he deserves, man.
Let's start the show.
I say, Court, you did a lot, bro. This shit like a paragraph and a half.
I ain't gonna lie. Yo, we was talking in the green room. Big Court got the Encyclopedia Britannica of intro. Like, take 3 minutes to give you your flowers. Bro. Like,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, man, we gonna rock it out.
And we gonna read this motherfucker off too, bro. You know what I'm saying? You put in the work.
Let's
you know
go.
What I'm saying?
Let's go. I appreciate it,
man. So this brother right here, he's a multi-talented actor, podcast host, film producer, and a former rap artist hailing from Kansas City, y'all. Many of y'all first got to know him as Court Dog, signed to the legendary No Limit Records, where he earned an RIAA certified gold plaque for his work on Master P's Down South Hustlers compilation. Beyond music, this brother's made waves in Hollywood, appearing in films alongside Katt Williams, Tiny Deebo, Lister, and I Got the Hookup too. He also served as the vice president of No Limit Forever, working directly with Master P. But he's also the executive producer and the host of the Holdin Court Podcast, where he's interviewed some of the biggest names in the entertainment industry, including Snoop, Ice-T, Tiffany Haddish, Michael J. White, Bone Thugs and Harmony, and Tank. And most recently, this brother also co-hosted TMZ Hip Hop on Fox. Woo! And starred in A Little Piece of Heaven, which debuted at #1 on All Black. And in 2025, he's partnering, taking things to the next level by partnering with the OG Ice-T to launch the OG Network, y'all. And y'all seen him on Revolt. Y'all seen him in the conferences. Y'all seen him on the big screen. You seen him in the booth, you dig? And now he's here on your favorite podcast for the very first time. Let's welcome my brother, Mr. Courtney, Big Court Richardson, y'all.
Hey, I appreciate it. I ain't even gonna lie. Best intro that I have ever received, and I received that. I appreciate that, my brothers, especially y'all hailing from the East Coast, man. I appreciate that. Thank you,
man. Work can't be denied. Greatness can't be denied.
Flowers is flowers, bro. It don't matter where you from, man. You put in that work, and we're gonna start the show by saying that, right? Like, this is what we talking about, right? We spend too much time worried about where we from. Yeah, okay, we from a different regional demographic. We all done went through almost the same shit, Court. You know that the hood is the hood, right? The hood is the hood. Poverty is poverty. Slang is slang. So we almost lived almost the same exact things, just in a different building, a little different paint. The windows are different size. I'm saying.
That's a fact.
But we gotta start bonding together on the human being aspect. Fuck all that regional shit. You are a black man that's been out there putting in that work when you could have used all of that energy and all of that talent for something completely else. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you didn't. So as much as people celebrate and want to emulate that, we gotta shine a light on people like you and say, let's celebrate and emulate this, because this is more sustainable right here. This is what's sustainable. This is what's going to get us moving forward, not that, because that's only going to be good for the moment, and then it's going to put us 2, 3, 4 steps back, right?
That's right. Fact,
you know what I'm saying?
Well, like, you know how we like to start, y'all. You know what I'm saying? We like to start with your influence, man. You from Kansas City, bro. Tell us a little bit about growing up in Kansas City, man. Early days, some early influences, stuff like that, man.
Man, well, you know,
my condolences to the Chiefs this year.
Oh yeah. We don't know what the fuck that was, man. Pray for us. I was down there at the Super Bowl too, but we gonna get it together.
Right.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri. Of course, it's funny because a lot of people don't know that there's a Kansas City, Kansas, and a Kansas City, Missouri. But we're like family. We divided by, like, you know, the state line or whatever. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah. There's so a lot of, when I say that I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, people would turn around and say, "Oh, for real? How's Kansas?" And I say, "I don't know. I'm from Missouri." You know what I mean? So I don't know. But yeah, so I'm from the Missouri side, but we're fam. KCK and KC, Missouri, a fam. Shout out to Janelle Monet. She's from KCK, you know,
Okay.
But so and of course Tech 9 is from Kansas City, Missouri as well.
Imagine, you already know.
So, you know, growing up in Kansas City, man, it was dope. I'm an only child, you know, single mom. I was raised on love, not survival. I had a beautiful childhood. You know, in my household, education was a focal point. You know, my grandmother used to make me read the encyclopedia and the dictionary, and then she would quiz me on the words when I came home, which, you know, greatly attributed to my loquaciousness and, you know, the way that I elocute, you know what I mean? Because she would make me read them, and then she would quiz me on the words. So in my household, in my formative years, I could not speak grammatically incorrect. You know, I couldn't say ain't, couldn't speak slang. I couldn't do any of that in those formative years. We talking about from the time I was talking to about 8, 9 years old. So education was really a focus in my household. You know, but, you know, I'm still in the hood. You know, I'm still growing up in the hood. So, you know, as the 80s and the early 90s came around, of course, with the influence of, you know, crack cocaine, especially in Kansas City, we had a kinship with the Bay Area, with Northern California, with Oakland, but then also with LA. So, you know, you had a lot of the guys in LA that were migrating to different parts of the country, you know, and they're bringing their understanding, you know, the gang shit to their cities. So what I watched as a kid is, you know, the guys, whoever was hustling in my neighborhood or in the city, whoever they kind of was copping from, that's who they aligned themselves with, whether they was Crip, Blood, or Pyru. We didn't really have Pyru in Kansas City, but we had Crips and Blood. So that's how that came. And so, you know, even though my household is loving and you know, it's cool, but I have to go outside and deal with the element, you know. So around my teenage years, you know, that's when I start getting street poison, and the influence of those understandings kind of derailed me a bit. And so, you know, by 15, I was in jail for some serious charges. They actually were trying to give me what they call juvenile life back then. Because at that time, this was like 91. This was like 91. So Missouri was trying to figure out what to do with their juveniles that committed adult crimes. You know, so I was actually going to be the first juvenile to be certified as an adult, to where even at the age of 15, they were going to send me to prison as a 15-year-old kid. Damn! Yeah, real talk. But, you know, God smiled on me, and that didn't happen, even though I did spend some time in juvie, then some time on house arrest or whatever. So it's funny because I never realized the depth of trouble that I was in till I got older. You know, when you're young, you're ignorant, and you know, you don't really get the brevity of things. And so I was looking back like, damn, shit, I've been just now getting out this joint. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
So anyway, with that being said, I had my first child at 16, which of course is my co-host on my show, Rachel.
Yeah.
Her when I was 16.
It's fire.
So with these things going on at the same time, I'm trying to find my way. I'm dealing with the streets. I'm just getting out of jail. I got a baby. The sense of urgency of me to find my way was great. And so,
quick question, bro, before you continue the story, when the charges dropped, were you acquitted of the thing? Like, was you totally, or were you still on like probation and stuff like that? Was still some,
No, great question. So what ended up happening is the way juvenile court worked back then is it somewhat works like family court. So no, I got charged. I got charged. What I inevitably got convicted of was what was it? Unlawful use of a weapon. It was a bunch of weapons charges. But I was initially charged with attempted murder, armed criminal action, shooting into an occupied dwelling, a bunch of burglaries, and some other shit. So what ended up happening was I was in jail for almost a year. Then they sent me to live with my father. I didn't grow up with my father. So at the time, my mother was going through her struggles with drugs or whatnot. So the lawyer painted a picture that I was the youngest on the case. Everybody else were adults. So I was the youngest on the case. And so they painted the picture that I got mixed up with an older crowd. I was, but I always did good in school. And then my mother's going through her struggles. So they were like, well, you know what? Let's give him a chance. Let's put him with his dad. His dad has a decent job, a stepmother that has a decent job. Let's put him in a different environment. Put his ass on house arrest, though, because we need to know where this little bad motherfucker is. And let's give him a chance. You know what I mean? So that's how that worked. But unfortunately, my crimies, they all got sentenced to prison because they were older. So they, my best friend who was actually on the case with me, he got 12 years, in behind it. And I think they all got like 10, 12, 15 years or whatever. I was the only one because I was the youngest. Now, the thing about it was I wasn't taken advantage of. I was actually one of the ringleaders. Some of the shit was my idea. You know what I mean? But we gonna go with it. We just went with that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's how I end up, man, God smiled on me because when I was in juvenile, and this was deep too, because I didn't grow up with my dad, even though he lived probably in walking distance. He lived 10 minutes from me, but I never saw him. He wasn't around like that. When I was in juvenile, I had become so accustomed to it. When my DJO came down and told me, hey, listen, we think you're going to be able to go home. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And she was like, but we're going to send you to your dad's and put you on house arrest. I was like, fuck, I stay here. So I elected to try to stay in jail in juvenile before I went over there to him, and so, but
send me to my pappy. Send me to my pappy.
Hey, listen,
boy, what's up? Send me to my pappy. Get me up out this motherfucker.
And not to throw my dad under the bus, because the irony of all of this is, as he's 81 years old now, I am, he has several kids, but he never really cultivated those relationships with any of us. Right. But here at 81, now I'm the prime, person that takes care of him, you know what I mean? And looks after him now. But, I remember thinking he got me a lawyer. And I remember being a teenager thinking that, damn, that's solid. Like, homie got me a lawyer. That's what's up. And it wasn't until I got older, till I was like, damn, I really felt like he did me a favor, getting me a lawyer. Then I thought about it as a man. I was like, well, shit, maybe if he was around, I wouldn't have had to get a fucking lawyer. You know what I mean? And so that came after the fact, but nevertheless, not to throw him under the bus. This is just,
of course not.
And so, yeah. And then from there, like I said, the sense of urgency became very apparent that I needed to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I remember that being that was really an eerie time in my life because, when Pac said death around the corner, I really felt like that because I felt like I was in a purgatory with choices, with, just what I wanted to do with my life and having the resource and having direction. This is why I believe mentors are so important, because at that time I didn't have anyone to I didn't have any older siblings or anything like that. So I didn't have anyone to paint the possibilities for me, to say, hey, you know what, if you keep doing this, like I was really good at basketball. I was really good at a lot of things, but I didn't have anyone to really stay on top of me and really help guide me and understand, these things. So I was left to my own devices in a lot of ways. But with that, I fell into the music. I got the music bug, and so that's where that started, pretty much in high school, freshman year. So
but before we go a little further than that, because I got in trouble like many of us did as a juvenile also. And I know different states have different laws. I know one of the things they did with me was one of the probationary things that they did was like, well, if you don't get in trouble for the next year or stuff like that, we'll end up sealing these cases, right? And they won't affect you into your adult years, because I like you said, right? As a child, we're doing stupid, ignorant shit, because we don't understand the ramifications it's going to have on our adult life. We don't understand in that one action, maybe that one conviction can close 1,500 doors for us as an adult. You know what I mean? So did they offer, I know you were on house arrest, but did they offer to like seal your cases because
exactly yes. Okay. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was on probation for 2 years.
Yeah.
The first year, I was still on house arrest in high school. I'm still in high school dealing with all of this. And I remember, I think it was Thursdays, I had to catch the bus to get to my probation officer on time, every Thursday. So only place I could go was to school, you know what I mean? And God forbid the fucking bus was late, you know what I mean? The school bus, because I had to be at home at by a certain time. So yeah. And they sealed the case. Yep.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
So now you're 16. The case is sealed now, right? You just had your daughter, and now you're going into a profession that all of us, we all three of us here rap. We all got bars. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And especially you somewhere like Kansas City, bro. So what was the mindset like? How am I going to get from a small town like Kansas City, Missouri, to get to my music out there, especially at that time?
I always, man, this is why, again, kind of harping on what I was saying. My mother she was such a supporter of me. And I think the way she reared me, she always told me as a kid, I could do whatever I wanted to do. So that was implemented in me early on. Right. And that was watered. So where some people, some kids might've had these rock star dreams, and their parents and the people around them would, tell them, oh, you just dreaming. You know what I'm saying? Like, go get a job. My mother wasn't like that. She was like, oh, that's what you're going to do? Okay. Well, shit, do it. I'm going to see you on TV. So, so with that being said, I never thought that I couldn't do it. So I always thought super big. I don't know how I was going to get there, but I knew I was going to get there. Right. So I started off as a group called CCG, me and my partner Cisco, our freshman year in high school. And initially my group was big like Wu-Tang, but of course it whittles down to who's really serious about it. So during that time, of course, like you say, coming from Kansas City, Missouri, it's not much industry. We had, at that time, Vel Bacardi was the talk of the town. He had signed with Def America with Rick Rubin. And he was the first rapper from Kansas City I saw on Yo MTV Raps. So that made it real. It was like, oh shit, this can happen. You know what I mean? He's from right down the street. He's from 39. He's from 39th Street. I'm from the 4 block, but he right up the street. So to see Vel Bacardi on TV, that made it real. Then, of course, we had Tech 9. He was already doing his thing. And then we had a group called Pure Dope. That was a local group. But I'm saying all this to say, with the exception of Vel Bacardi at that time, everybody was just local.
Yeah.
At 16, 17 years old, that wasn't appealing to me, because I'm, at that time, I'm studying. I'm watching TV. I'm reading all the magazines. I'm studying. I'm reading all the credits and the CDs and the cassettes. I'm really, into this. And so I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to be where they are. You know what I'm saying? Not to take away from the people that aspired to be local, but that just wasn't my goal. So we recorded a bunch of demos. And so what I ended up doing was I used to send tapes to the majors. So I get the addresses off the back of the CD. I was sending shit to Jive Arista, MCA, Electra, all of that shit, right? And they would send it back with a stamp that said, we don't accept unsolicited, we don't accept unsolicited material. I didn't know what the hell that meant. I was like, oh damn, they ain't even open it. They ain't fucking with us. Like, you know, I just took extra. So something clicked in me that was like, well, shit. Because, you know, I was a big fan of West Coast and Southern hip hop. So I'm looking at Black Market. I'm looking at Rap a Lot. I'm looking at all of these labels. I didn't have the terminology independent, but they just seemed as if they were reachable. And so I said, shit, let me start sending some shit to these smaller labels. Then I started at least being able to get someone on the phone. So I was like, okay, let me focus on that. So at the time, there was a third, we were a duo, but there was a person named Dank Nitty that used to rap with us. People used to say, he sounds like Master P. At the time, I didn't know who Master P was. I never heard of him. And so I would hear that. They'd be like, yeah, the dude on there, y'all other dudes sound like Master P. So finally, I go get Ghetto's Trying to Kill Me, which is the album he had out at the time. So I'm like, okay, I fuck with this. This is cool. And so, of course, I look on the back like, oh, shit, it's a label too? Oh, he got an address and a phone number? Shit, I'm on that. So, you know, this is, and I'm going to tell y'all, this is why I have little patience for the excuses that artists give nowadays, because I come from an era where it was 1,000% more difficult. You know what I mean?
You lucky I had my finger on the trigger too. I was waiting for it. I was like, the nigga about to go. Let's wait for it, nigga.
Real talk. And
Go quick with it.
Hey, so I end up, because back then, nobody told me what an electronic press kit was or a press kit. I didn't even know that. But common sense, again, I'm going all off of a dream, hustle, and common sense. Something told me, okay, they need to know who we are. So I used to handwrite the bios. Then I said, okay, well, I guess they need to know what we look like. So we go to 1 hour photo. We had the little cheap cameras you get, and we take our, you know, we be in our rap poses and shit. And I put that in there. And then the recorded demo tape with a list of the songs, whole songs, right? Yeah. This was a press kit. I didn't know that, right? But this is what common sense was telling me to do. So I was relentless. I was persistent. Sometimes I was send 5, 6, 7 tapes to the same people. I was calling until you gave me a definitive no. And if you gave me a definitive no, then the next batch of songs we did, I was sending that to you. Say, okay, well, what you think about this? You know what I mean? So at the time, Bone Thugs and Harmony had just came out. We had a similar style to Bone Thugs and Harmony. So in my 17-year-old mind, I don't know why trying to go to where they are sounded similar to them seemed right. But at the time it did, because it signaled to me that, oh, they fucking with this kind of shit. So, you know, so I was on Ruthless. And so I end up making contact and establishing rapport with a lady named Cassandra Ware. Shout out to Cassandra Ware. I've never met her in person, but she was so gracious with me when I would call. And I would call all the time. Yeah, the easy get the tape. It's easy there. It's easy there. It got to the point where when I would call, she'd be like, hello, Courtney, how are you today? You know, she'd be like, no, Eric is not here. You know what I mean? He hasn't got it yet. So I say about November or so, 94, she was like, yeah, Eric, he got the tape. I'm like, oh shit, nigga, we finna go to roof. This nigga is up. It's woo, woo, woo. Didn't hear nothing. Come March, Easy dies. Damn. Okay. So I'm back to the drawing board. But by this time, I had become a Master P fan, right? So
wait, before you continue, real quick, how long did the outreach from you to Ruthless? Like 6 months, a year? How long was you building that relationship?
If I had to be honest, bro, that shit felt like the whole year, bro.
Oh
yeah, because things move.
Like, yo, I'm there to the baby.
They move.
Yeah.
So and again, remember at that time, email is not out. It's not prevalent at that time, right? Nothing is, you know, so everything is really like mail and a house and a house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dude, I'm sending tapes that's taking 6-7 days to get there.
Right. It take a week to get there.
There's no tracking. There's no fucking tracking number. It's like, I'm calling like, did you even get it? You know what I mean?
And knowing you just nailed that shit yesterday.
Yeah. You know, I was on a mission, bro. I was relentless. I was on a mission.
I love that.
So in interim that, I become a fan of Master P, and 99 Ways to Die comes out, which was one of my favorite Master P albums. So I'm like, oh yeah, so I'm on him for whatever reason. I locked in on him.
Right.
And what it was is P had a voicemail. And so I made it my business. I had a big brick phone, the cell phone, the brick one. I had that one back then, like 35 cents a minute. So I'm calling, I'm filling his voicemail up on purpose so nobody else can leave voicemails. So he got to hear my voice.
That's hustle, bro.
I love that. Yo, I love that shit though.
Yeah,
I love that shit, bro. I love that shit. Go ahead.
17, 18 years old doing this shit. So finally, I guess I got on his fucking nerves. I got on. He said, this motherfucker calling me like this, he got to be serious. So he tells, if the story proves true, because Servon told me, I think he tells Mr. Servon to go get the tape. He gets the tape. Now, mind you, I didn't send probably about 10 of them by then, you know. He listens to it and he's like, oh, okay. So as I told you, I'm living with my dad at the time. Yeah. So I'm at home. I got the home number and the cell phone number on there, right? But I think by the time he called, I think the cell was off because I had paid the bill. It was too high. So it was off. You know what I mean?
Hated
it. So he calls the house phone, and I just so happen to be there by myself. I get up, I go. So he said, yeah, can I speak to Court? It was a voice I didn't recognize, so I thought it was calling for my dad because my dad's name is Courtney too.
Oh, so, God.
Yeah. So I was like, he ain't here. And so he was like, all right. He was like, well, shit, tell him P called. So I was like, P? I said, P who? He was like,
yeah.
I was like, nah, this me. And he was like, so P started laughing. He was like, niggas, you on the run? You dodging somebody or something? You know? And I was like, nah. I was like, man, my dad named Courtney too. Like, this really? Yeah. He was like, yeah, I got your tape. Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah.
Like, damn. So it went from there. And I just remember him saying, he was like, I'm doing a compilation called Down South Hustlers. You know, I'm gonna have 8-Ball, MJG, UGK, and you know, at the time, 8-Ball, MJG, and UGK were super huge, especially in my
them dudes, and I love them to this day.
That's right.
I love 8-Ball, MJG to this day.
And so that really got me excited. I was like, wow, hell yeah. And so he was like, all right. He was like, man, I'm gonna bring y'all out here. And this is at this time he was still in the Bay Area. He was in Oakland, and so. We didn't go out to Oakland until about it was a few months. But the trip was P used to call me randomly. He would just call and we would just chop it up and talk. We would talk for an hour, you know what I mean? And I would tell my friends that and they wouldn't believe me. They'd be like, so he just called you? I'd be like, yeah. So, but of course, as I got to know P, I understood what he was doing. He was really trying to see where I was with it, where my head was. If I was going to even be something worth, you know, getting involved with, you know what I mean? So he sent tickets back then, again, mailing. He mailed the tickets to the house, Southwest tickets, you know what I'm saying? And so then we go to Oakland. And so I remember that being the first time that we had ever been in a real studio. Cause see, this is why I say about nowadays. Back then, you know, studio time, we talking about reel to reel 2-inch. You talking about Elise's ADAT, Tascam ADAT studio time, $100, $150, $200 an hour.
Easy.
You know what I mean? Nice. So we had been in kind of these makeshift, you know, when the nigga might had a 4-track recorder, you know, or some shit like that. So we was really trying to grind and get it. And so I remember he put us in the studio with Beats by the Pound and K. Lou. And we felt like we was with Dr. Dre. It was the first time we was in a real studio. And then we ended up recording the song R.I.P., which was on me, Silk the Shocker, my partner Cisco, and Master P for Down South Hustlers. And so we recorded an album with No Limit called 100% Game. You can see our picture on the inside of Down South Hustlers, but it never came out.
Oh,
never came out.
I mean, but the experience of that can change your life all the way. Now, you are already an animal. The concepts that you're thinking about at 17, like grown men don't think about that. You understand what I'm saying? The hustle and the persistence that you're showing at 17, grown-ups are not thinking about that. So you go to this studio and you see somebody that technically is in the industry, one of the highest, best independent ones to ever do it. Mm-hmm. And he's like, let me introduce you to what this thing looks like for real. It's the work ethic behind it. It's seeing what the organization of putting an album together actually looks like, from soup to nuts, right? From the engineer to the production and just everything now, right? Understanding, he's giving you an invaluable lesson in the business of making music, the business part. Now, how much, remember, back in that day, 100 to 200 an hour for a studio session, average 17-year-old could not afford $200 for 1 hour, right? And some of these sessions go.
That's a fact.
You better have your verse before you get here.
That's right. You
better have your verse before you get in the building.
Come on. Hey, listen.
Real or real, you know how them shits used to record. You gotta get that shit right all the way
all this shit
all over.
All this shit that they do now, right? Get in the studio and write your rap. Hell no.
Nah.
Nigga, we had our shit rehearsed, ready to go. When you go in there, you go. Like, cause the time is ticking. So, but this was the thing. I was just talking with Big Boz. Boz is my brother. That's P's best friend. The light-skinned cat that's always with him. When I was in New Orleans, we were talking. And he asked me, he said, man, how come y'all album, what happened with that? And he told, so it comes back to integrity and just, how people won't sell themselves. So what happened was at the time, so it was me and my partner, Cisco, right? We're 17, 18 years old. We don't know the business. We had a manager at the time who was actually from New Jersey. He was about 10 years older than us. He didn't know shit for real, but he knew more than us. You know what I mean? So what you have is so the manager, I ain't gonna lie, me and him never really clicked for real, but him and my partner clicked. Well, what happened was me and P clicked, and him and my partner never talked. So when we got to California, me and P like old friends, they're meeting for the first time. They had never even spoke because I was the point of contact. So, but we had difference of personalities. So basically what happened was P didn't like my partner and my partner didn't like P. The manager, he sided with my partner.
And you and the manager didn't really get along. I see it already.
Exactly. So what happened was, I never forget it. P came and got me one time and he was like, come roll with me. So basically, in a nutshell, he was like, I'm fucking with you, but the rest of that shit, I'm not fucking with. You know what I mean? And he basically was like, man, you need to do your own thing. You just come, but the integrity in me, I couldn't do that. Cause I'm like, I came with him, even though I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying. And I do want this opportunity, but I got to be able to look at myself. I came with him. I kind of got to leave with him. You know what I'm saying? So what happened was the album didn't come out, but we go back to Kansas City. But see, now I'm super motivated because I've seen something different. I've been next to it. And this is right before Ice Cream Man dropped. So, by the time I get back to Kansas City, now he blowing up, right? But this is why I tell the youngsters the importance about not burning bridges and rapport, and relationships and cultivating relationships. So I get on my hustle. Now I'm in the streets, but I'm in the streets with a purpose. I'm not just on some crash out shit like before. So now I'm on the independent shit. So this is where you start seeing me put out the independent albums, the CCG albums, the Court Dog albums and all of that. But what P did, because of his influence, at the time I was going through Selecto Hits and Southwest and City Hall and Gonzales and all of these, one stops. What he did was he did for me. He used his influence. They would pay me COD for whatever units that I got manufactured. So if I manufactured 10,000 units, they was paying me up front $7. So now I'm 18, 19 years old, and I'm getting, $70,000 checks, $150,000 checks. I'm doing this independent thing. So that was, that was kind of the caveat, in all of that. And yes, there was a part of me that felt like, damn, I missed it. I missed all the heyday. I missed all the glory in terms of being with P during the heyday. But I still made a lot of money, independently. And I always still kept a relationship with him, which is why, fast forward, when I moved to LA 22 years ago, he moved to LA at the same time. And that's when we linked back up and been rocking ever since then, doing a bunch of things. You know what I'm saying?
Message.
Yeah, that's how my journey with No Limit. It's funny because some of the hardcore No Limit fans, some of them know who I am, but then some of them, they be like, we don't know him. Then they have to put it together. I'm like, no, I was before. I come from the square tank. I'm like, wait, I'm before the heyday. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what happened with that. But I wouldn't trade it for the world because it helped shape my perspective. It let me know it was possible, even more so than I already felt prior to that. You know what I mean? And I just understood the importance of relationships, man. Even from Kansas City, I was networking with so many people. I was in magazines independently back then. I was in Double XL. I was in Source. I was in Murder Dog. I was in, I was on all these compilations. I was networking and politicking and doing songs with people that were national acts, Brother Lynch Hungs, the Sebos, and different people like that. So it was work ethic, man, and just really having that dream and going after it.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you something that you didn't know, which is hella funny, bro. First of all, we got Serve coming on the show on Tuesday.
Hey, so when he comes, ask him, and he will second that story. Ask him about it.
Yeah, Serve is pulling him and Silk are pulling up on Tuesday.
Got him coming.
Okay, and Silk is my brother. Ask him. They'll say, "Hey, Court told us the story," especially Serve, because Serve was right in the mix of it. He'll tell you the same exact thing.
That's fire, man. But another story though, we also had James Lindsay come on. I had him on Rankable. He's supposed to come back on. Shout out to James from Rap Snacks, and he told his story of how he met P was almost damn near identical to you. It was like, yo, he said. He ended up putting so for those that are not familiar, I'll just give you this quick 30 seconds. He was sitting there going to clubs and stuff like that and saw the big posters on the wall. He was like, yo, that's marketing budget being wasted. Why the fuck are they spending money to put something on the joint that nobody even gives a fuck? What if we make a product, put the artist on it, and if the product is good, it's going to fly? So he pitched it to the joint, and the first person that came up was P. His wife liked the chip so much, nigga said he called him at 3 a.m. He's sleeping, 3 a.m. P called like, yo, my wife said I should call you. I love the chip.
That's a fact.
Yo, real shit.
3 in the morning.
3 in the morning. When you get those type of calls, you make it happen. But one thing that I've always heard about P, bro, is the relationship. He keeps a tight circle, and I heard he's always been solid. Like I said, James been rocking him solid. Sir, everybody's been around him is not around him.
But you have to think real quick. Let me see. I met P when I was 17. When I was 17, I was 17 or 18, but I'm 48 now. And to this day, we still rocking. P lives 7 minutes away from me. We just got back from the Super Bowl together. We were down there together, doing our thing. So we've been rocking 30 years.
Come on,
you know what I mean?
Bro.
That's what I was alluding to right there.
Come on, bro.
I think he respected the fact of the loyalty. And again, it's a lesson that you might not have understood in the day one, right? But all of those times of him making those phone calls was to see if you would actually make that move right there. So you might not have even realized that. Let me see where he is mentally. And what you said was, my loyalty was, listen, sink or swim, I made this commitment to this person. I'm going to have to see it through, right? And that's what he was looking for, that mentality right there. So when you guys reconnected, now there's absolutely no question on how you're going to move. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Now
Absolutely.
he knows you 10 toes down. Now he knows
And
you're not just here for the fame and the girls and all the other accolades that come from being at that level. He's like, this guy has work ethic. He has principles. He has morals. I know that I can trust myself with him being around the situation and him being 10. That's what he was looking for right now.
And you know what? And to second that, me and Boz was just talking about this in New Orleans. And this is what I want to tell the people, man. Listen, what's for you is for you, right? Can no man, can no person stop you or stand in front of what's for you, right? And to a testament to that, just the consistency of my character, I recently just was faced with a similar situation where, you know, I did a movie, I was doing a movie, and I came in with the director of the movie. And so anyway, the stuff, it fell apart. There were some internal things going on and it fell apart. Well, the other side, the producers, they still wanted me because I'm one of the leads. They still wanted me and they offered to pay me more money to come back. I was like, I can't do that because I came in with this person. And not only that, this person is a personal friend of mine. So I have no problem with you. I respect you. But respectfully, I can't do it. I wish I could. I want to do it, but I can't, right? That person said, I respect you because I know if the shoe was on the other foot, you would do the same thing. I said, exactly. Now, to my point, of course, in my mind, I was like, damn, I really wanted that to happen. But never did I ever consider to step outside of my principles. But show you how God works. I get a call about a month later. They figured it out.
There it is. See?
So now here we are back working to get it done. Now, see, imagine if I had been on some fake shit, you know what I mean? And sold my soul and you know, because that's what I consider selling your soul is when you're doing things that are against, you know, your who you are, you know what I mean? And so I still had to stand on principle. So I've been able to be successful like that. I had another instance where, you know, me and a friend of mine, we were doing some business and we were creating something and a person that he wanted to bring in had ran afoul of, I'll just say he ran afoul of P. And to a large degree, depending on the level, the egregiousness of it, running afoul of P is going to be running afoul of me, depending on the level of disrespect. So because he wanted to bring this person in, which that person would have been very valuable to it, I told him, I said, I can't do it. I can't be a part of it. You know what I mean? Because I don't even really have a problem with that person, but just off principle, because he disrespected my guy so egregiously. I can't do it. You know what I mean? And I stepped away from it. You know what I'm saying? And there was a lot of money involved. So that's just how I'm wired. You know, I don't do things for money. I always tell people, man, don't be a paper chaser, be a purpose chaser, because money come and go. You know what I mean?
You know what comes after that, cousin?
You have my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
You know, I want to ask you some shit. I asked James the same shit, and I'm curious, bro. Since you're the homies with P, bro, what's some of the illest business advice that you've heard from P or as somebody else that's been a mentor to you, bro? What's some of the illest game you've gotten?
You know, it's a lot, bro.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, like every soon nigga speak, it's a message.
But what I will say, I'm gonna tell you what I've learned from P is, for one, work ethic, and then two is to be, at least for me, because you know, 100 people can look at the same thing and come away with a different perspective and understanding of what that is, right? Yeah. So for me, I'm gonna say work ethic and utter confidence and belief in what it is you're doing. One thing, you know, a lot of people think that you have to have it all figured out. They think that you have to know everything, be the smartest in the room to be successful, and you actually don't. You know, the people that are successful actually are the ones that fail the most because they usually try the most. You know, so because you know, success is just really a culmination of failures. So one thing that I learned from P is, again, utter confidence. He will have a vision of what it is that he wants. He might not even know all that in between shit, all that minute shit. He may not even know, but he know where I'm trying to get to. But that motherfucker will go like he got it figured out, and just, you know, and But that's success. Success is not pretty. It's not perfect. It's a circuitous route. I always tell people success is like, the path to success is, imagine giving a 3-year-old a crayon and then giving them a piece of paper and let them scribble. Let them, you know what I'm saying? That's success. That motherfucker all over the place. It's like some fucking scribble. You know what I mean? So to embrace that and not be afraid to fail, not be afraid to look like a fool, you know, not be afraid to get a pie in your face in front of everybody. So that's really the big takeaway for me. Now, of course, there's a little game, you know, in between that he give you, you know, but that's it, man. You know, half the battle is showing up. Most people won't try because of fear of failure, you know, not
listen to him. You can learn something.
God damn, he beat me to the button. I had the fucking trigger on the button.
A quick trigger with it, boy.
I was waiting for him to finish the fucking shit. I was like, nah, he's crazy. He going crazy.
Let me tell you, the funny shit about it is, show you how real this shit is. We went through a similar situation on a conference call today, about an hour before we called you. A similar situation where we rocked with a guy and something happened with the guy and everybody, whatever, right? But the guy never did nothing to us. So we kept the personal relationship, our personal. We didn't interject into that and this and that. And there was other people that wanted us to interject, and we're like, nah, we're not going to do that because the guy never did nothing to us. So we're not even going to allow you to come on our platform and even think about. You see what I'm saying? So we live exactly the reason that we've had this podcast almost 2 years. Let's be clear, Court. We've had this podcast almost 2 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
We
bro.
appreciate you. We did 100 episodes last year. 100 episodes in a year, right? Most podcasts fail in 6 to 8 episodes of beginning a podcast to you know, failure. We did 100 last year alone, right? One of the biggest questions is, how do we keep getting the level of guests that we get, right? Like, how the fuck did you get this motherfucker? Beyonce's father, Venus and Serena Williams. How did you get relationships, right? Yeah. It's the relationships. It's the not taking the no for the answer. Maybe the first time, second time, third time. Took about 7 times with Beyonce's dad, but that's Beyonce's father. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
2030.
Yeah.
Right? But also, when they come on the show, the interview process after the show, the way we move, a lot of these big celebrities and successful people watch other shows and they understand and know like that these guys move a certain way.
That's right.
They move a certain way. We see how they move. We see what they're about, and they're consistent across the board, right? And we refuse. We have turned down deals. Be clear. We have turned down trips. We have turned down deals. We have turned down situations that could have benefited us, but it wasn't in the realm of how we like to do business. Yes. And we felt like if we take that, then we're going to be undervaluing our community because then we're like bigots, right? We're preaching one thing, but doing something different. So we've done exactly what you've said to stand on principle, right? We call it impact over the metrics, right?
Yep.
Forget the fact that we might have got the bag. Forget the fact that it might have been a better look for us. We have to be able to look at ourselves in the mirror and like what we see every day to be able to do this show the way we do it. So we said that regional shit don't matter. You see, we come from similar backgrounds, done similar things, and we have similar mindsets that have helped us to get to look at where we are now, right? We from the Bronx, you from Kansas City, but in this moment, we're together.
That's right. That's right.
You see, and what brought us together, right?
And that's a fact. I'm glad you said that because same thing. And you know, I've had the opportunity to I've declined certain interviews. Yeah. You know, certain people that you know their messaging and what they do doesn't align. You know, now, okay, yeah, I could go viral. I could get a couple little extra dollars that month because you're gonna say some crazy shit, but that's not what I do. That's not why I created my platform, you know, and you'd be surprised at how many people will succumb to that. You know, well, you may not be surprised, but, you know, a lot of people chase the clout, they chase the attention. And, you know, and again, it's no accident that we're here talking to each other because it's the same way. I created my platform to humanize the culture. You know, I started seeing so much, you know, so much of our culture being exploited. You know, And you know, I don't know if it's a thing that you get older. You know, I know at one point I participated in it. If you figure, I was a gangster rapper. So, you know, I talked about the things in the street we were doing. You know, I sensationalized it. I glamorized it. I did do that. But I don't know. It's like when you get older, you start seeing things differently, you know, and what I started seeing in the media space, I'm like, damn, you know, and then, you know, of course, we're not a monolith, so we don't all do it. So I don't want to paint that. But there's a sector of us in the media space that love to exploit each other. We use social media. It's like, damn, we tear each other down. It's all this exposed culture. Everybody want to embarrass somebody. Everybody want to, you know, tear somebody down. Somebody hit hard times or hit a bad spot in their life. Then everybody want to gossip about it. And I'm like, I don't know that I see this with other people in other cultures as much, you know, as I see that we do it to each other. So that's why I was like, man, I want to create my platform to humanize the culture. Cool. I could have the drug kingpins, the gangster zone, the gangbangers. I could have those people on. But see, what I'm not going to do is just stop at your story of, oh, you got shot 1,000,000 times. You did 1,000,000 years in jail. Oh, you did this, you did this. My thing is, okay, I hear that. Let's peel back the layers. Why did you make those choices? You know, what's going on in our communities that we are making these choices, and that is the norm. And then how you got to where you are, to where you're atoning for it now. See, that's the part that I loved about gangster rap. Like if you see behind me, I got the power painting, right? This is a 5x5 oil painting that I have. Because back in the day, when you would hear Ice-T and you would hear Ice Cube, you would hear all the gangster shit, you know, first verse, oh, nigga, we getting it. We in the streets. We got the bitches, the hoes, the guns, nigga, we them niggas. Second verse, yeah, we getting it some more. Woo, woo, woo. Third verse, I'm in jail or I'm dead. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, what's the other side of the story? Let's just not stop at the celebration of it. What's the other side? You know, let's tell the whole story, you know, and that's the problem that I would have with a lot of, you know, just the media, be it music or podcasting or whatever you want to call it, is let's tell the whole story. You know, I watch others, you know, and listen, I have no issue. I like what Vlad does. I have no issue with him. Because listen, you go on there, you know what you're walking into. You should know how to comport yourself, you know. But you do have others that will, you know, it's like they monetize our trauma. You know, when I hate to see when all the drill, oh yeah, my mama was on crack and I got shot 10 times. You know, I went to jail, woo, woo, woo. But it's couched in such a thing to where it's cute. And like it's a movie, like we're being entertained. I'm like, no, this is not entertaining. Like that shit is not cool. You know, at least if you're not going to tell the other side, have you made it through that yet? How did you fix that? Let's talk about the solution now. Yeah, that's cool, the problem, but let's talk about a solution. So
yeah, I hate seeing the ones outside of the culture do it. The trap Ross Lords and stuff like that. He did one in the Bronx. If you ever look on it, look at the Bronx drill rapper joint. It was he's talking about all the young boys. I'm talking about 12, 13, 15-year-old kids getting hit in the head and all that. Yeah. My baby mother was teaching one of them in 5th grade. Like, yo, he was a great kid, straight A, got to the drill music and all that. And that's what happened. And you over there in Nova Scotia somewhere, in a room somewhere, and got some great fucking editing. And now you're making some bread. You don't really know what it means. It is. Family, bro. Come on.
And this is why I don't participate in the gossip and the back and forth and all of that. Yeah. I don't allow people to come on my show. Now, I don't want to be a hypocrite. The first year of my show, as I was learning the nuances and learning things, you know, I would have opposing content creators come on and kind of take digs at each other, but I knew them, right? And so and I made sure, okay, this is just content, right? Because I don't want to contribute to something that, you know, it get real and my ass is in Calabasas chilling and I didn't contribute to some shit that went bad in the street. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that because, you know, I've been through a lot of real shit in my life. So it's like, you know, God smiled on me to make it this far. And I done took a lot of penitentiary chances. And there's no way in hell that at this age, I'm going to get tripped up over content and social media.
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking.
Yo, you know, I have my finger on the trigger for that, right?
That shit means no sense.
I don't let him finish. I have my finger on the trigger.
He's fucking good. He's fucking good, this guy.
You know
like
what it is? It's a triangle, though. It's a, you know what? It's a circle. It's not even a triangle. It's a circle. The problem with this is the only reason that they're able to monetize it is because we are consuming it. And we're consuming it at a rate that any platform, the algorithm is now pushing it. So that's almost the only thing that you see, or the primary thing that you see, right? And this is the problem, right? This is why we have to have people come on, like on our show. We've had people that have been to prison, right? But we focus on, but what are you doing now? Like you said, right? But now, guess what? I went to prison, but I wrote a book. I wrote a bestseller. I did this. I came home. I changed my life. This is what we need to hear, because guess what? I'm not being funny. Like I've been locked up a bunch of times. I've never been to prison. I've been to jail a bunch of times. You know, I subsequently beat all my cases, but so I've never been to prison. But I've been in trouble a lot, right? But the thing about it is that shit ain't fucking cute. Like, you understand what I'm saying, Court? Like, for people that have never been locked up, processed, you know what I'm talking about, fingerprinted, the whole shit, right? For people that have never gone through that, for the case, had to get lawyers, that they don't understand what it does to you, what it does to your family, etc. And they don't understand that a lot of these cases that we sensationalize end up in total failure. Like, so you are the one rapper that might have gotten shot 10 times and survived, but you know how many people get shot once and die, or twice? Like, you understand? Like, that's not a case that we should be building a platform on to say, like, this is gonna happen and you can be, no, because you're an anomaly. You got lucky that you didn't get killed. You understand what I'm saying? But the problem is, if we keep spinning this narrative, this is why this generation is following behind it so much, and with so much violence and all this other stuff escalate the way it is, because this is what we're promoting.
Yeah, that's a fact. And the other part of that is too, I tell youngsters all the time, because, you know, listen, I know, you know, because I know how I was. I mean, I was a mature, precocious kid, but at the same time, you know, I was on my bullshit when I was young as well. But, you know, I try to tell these youngsters, like, you know what, that's cool. You out here, you thugging, you doing your thing, bro. Get you some health insurance. So when your ass get banged up, you know, you be all right. Get you some life insurance. So then when you take that ride, your family ain't got to do fish fries, you know, and GoFundMe's, you know. And I'm like, dog, this shit is a few dollars a month, you know. So I'm like, damn, y'all not even doing it right, fucking up. Like, if you don't got nothing to live for, right? If you feel like, man, I'm hopeless, fuck it, I'm out here, I don't see nothing, man. Life insurance, that shit, $10 a month, $20 a month, you know, get you 50 bands, 100 bands, you know, at least leave your people with something, if that's just the road you're going to take.
Can't even see them thinking that far, because most motherfuckers, when they get locked up, ain't even got lawyer money. Court, let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck, Court. Most motherfuckers, forget the life insurance. Most motherfuckers in the street, you're doing all this wild shit. We spending all this fucking money, and the moment you get knocked, you don't even have enough money for a decent fucking lawyer, which means you get a public defender, and this is why you end up getting these fucking crazy ass numbers and having to take these deals, because you don't even have you heard what you said? My father got me a lawyer. Now, might not have been a good father. Might not have been there. We all listen, I was raised, my father wasn't always present. I understand that life. Most urban kids do, right? Single family households. But look at what he understood at the level of severity of the charges that my son is facing. If he gets a public defender, that could have been the end of your, like you said, Cole, you could have just been fucking coming home right now. Fucking now. The fact that he just got you a lawyer, a paid lawyer, not somebody overwhelmed with 100 cases. You're just one of 100 public defenders. A paid lawyer that might have helped to save your life. It didn't make up for what he missed. That action could have saved your life right there.
And let me reiterate this. Shout out to Carl Bussey, because that was the lawyer that he got. He was one of the best criminal defense attorneys in Kansas City.
And he got you the Cochran in Kansas City.
Hey, I gotta say this part too. I gotta say this part because I know how YouTube is. But let me, because I missed this part. So I got that. I got probation and all of that with the lawyer with no snitching. Let me reiterate that part. No snitching. You know. So yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, let me throw that out there. But that's funny that you say that with no bail money because, I don't know, man. Like when I was young and I was hustling in the streets, which this ties into, because another thing, I'm a real estate investor.
Okay.
I have a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio that I own. And then I also have a property management company that we manage over 10 million in assets,
Nice.
But now, mind you, I never went to college or anything, right? I graduated high school and then signed with No Limit that following summer. So the thing about it was when I was hustling and I was out there, I knew, so how I got into real estate, right? I bought my first house when I was 19. As a matter of fact, I bought my first house from my co-defendant, from his grandfather. So his grandfather was selling his house. I paid $17,000 for that house, right? And so I started doing it because I saw a lot of the OGs that I knew that were older. They would buy houses in the hood and they was doing their thing. They was D-boys or whatever. So I was like, okay, let me do this in case I go to jail. In case I go to jail, then I have something to help me get out of jail and put up for bond. You know what I mean? So, okay, cool. So I bought it for $17,000. I put like another 15 into it. It was a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. So I remember standing in front of the house, feeling accomplished and shit. I'm like 19, but then I start doing the math. I was like, shit, I'm in this motherfucker like 35,000. At that time, I can only rent it for $600 a month. So I'm like, fuck, it's gonna be forever for me to get my money back with this shit, So it dawned on me because at that time, my hustle, again, 20 years ago, I've been very, very legit since then. But I was getting money from the records independently, but I sold weed. And so it was volume. So back then that Reggie shit, you get it for 200, 2.25. In my city, go 550, 575. You get 100, 200. How they go, right? So it was a volume thing. So as I'm sitting there looking at the house, I said, there it is. I said, I need 10 of these bitches. Volume. It's a volume thing. So in essence, within the next couple of years, I got to 7, I say maybe about 4 or 5 years, I had 17. I got 17 properties free and clear. So I was looking at the residual income, like, okay, I can rent them anywhere from $550 to $750 because it was different bedrooms in different areas. So if I'm making, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month, especially you talking about the late 90s, early 2000s, I'm like, okay, that's cool, right? So I didn't know anything about equity, leveraging. I didn't know none of that. I just knew how to buy them and pay people to do the work and flip them, and I never sold a house. I just, I wanted the residual income. So anyway, I ended up meeting a lady that worked for one of the local banks down there. And so I remember having lunch with her and she was like, how many properties you own? And so she asked me how much I owed on them. I was like, oh, I don't owe nothing on them. She was like, so you got 17 properties free and clear? I said, yeah. She was like, oh, okay. So long story short, I say probably within 6 months, she got me a line of credit for $1.5 million.
A million, absolutely.
Over those houses. And that's when the light bulb went off, like, oh, that's how this works. You know what I mean? And so that's where, but it all started with me, honestly, trying to prepare to go to jail because of what I was doing. That's how that started, Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! Real talk. That's how it started. So that's why I always say half the battle is showing up. You don't have to know all the information. Anything that I've succeeded in, even in making movies, I never went to film school, real estate, whatever it was. I just showed up. With the confidence, again, going back to what I told you I learned from Pete, I just showed up, did the work, knowing that I was going to bump my head a few times and did it, But again, I don't want to paint that picture as if it was just all wins and it was all, no. Because, in this life, you take L's too. You got to be prepared for that as well. Right. I've taken my L's too. So, just like the streets, right? In that 08, 09, all that real estate crash shit. Oh yeah, I got cute with it. So I had Kansas City on lock. So I got cute. Like, oh, I'm gonna go to Atlanta and repeat and do the same thing. But this time I'm gonna do it with a bunch of 6-figure properties. Yeah, well, 08, 09, let me know what time it was. And they was like, oh yeah, you thought you was cute, huh? Oh yeah, you paid $250 for that? Yeah, that motherfucker worth $75,000 now. So, I end up losing, was it 8 properties coming out of, doing in Atlanta with doing that shit. So, the L's come with it. So you have to be prepared for that. But those are just lessons,
Never lost, only a lesson, bro.
Only a lesson.
Yeah, but then what made you want to transit? I mean, you're already in film and music, you're in media already. But what made you want to double down and like do Holdin Court and actually focus on the podcasting space, bro?
It was really, like I said before, just it was during COVID. Actually, it was during COVID that I was sitting still, and then I started watching Gangster Chronicles. I'm watching Nori and them, Drink Champs. I'm watching Vlad. I never really paid attention to that stuff till then because I'm sitting still. So I was like, damn, I might have something to offer in this space. And so my homeboy producer Ken, who I initially started the show with, we've been friends 20 years. He's a producer. So he was like, so it started initially. I was like, man, let's do a podcast where we talk about all the 90s shit, all the music we grew up on. I want to talk about that shit. So that's how it started. And so what happened was when I saw the guest model, I've been here 22 years. I know a lot of people, relationships, as we said before, relationships. So I start calling all my celebrity friends. Like, you know what? I got this show I'm gonna do, man. You want to come through and do it? Wasn't nobody doing shit. It was COVID. They was like, yeah, So, I called Michael Jai White, who's a personal friend. I called Jay Prince. I called P. I called Silk. I called everybody. I called Lil E. Everybody that I knew personally, and they came through. And then once I started learning and I really started studying the space, I said, okay, I don't want to just entertain, but I also want to inspire. I also want to make us look good. The culture. I want to show that, we can be from these environments. We can have these difficult conversations, but we can be articulate. We can be smart. We can be compassionate. So I wanted to show that we're, that we have these levels and these colors to us, especially coming from, like I say, the urban and hip hop street space. And so far it's resonated is that the most gratifying thing I get is when people, I travel a lot, people will recognize me. And when they come up and say, man, I love how you represent the culture, brother. I love how when you had Crip Mac on, you told him some real shit. Or when you had this guest on, man, it inspired me. Kind of like you guys, so it was setting out with a purpose, not just to, we can have fun. We could talk shit. We could do that, but interim that, you're going to get inspired. You're going to learn something, so I just wanted to bring that balance to the culture. So that's why that was really the defining factor.
Love that, bro.
Sound like the same story, cuz.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to say
the same fucking story, cuz. Like, I'm in the mirror right now. Like,
Shit, but I was gonna ask you too. Like, what's the? How did you learn the business aspect of it, right? Because you getting good guests on. You think you got to think about so many different things. People just think it's turn on the podcast and do it, and it's not. We talking about buying cameras. We got the black magic cameras. We got this. We got lighting kits. We got all this thing. And me and Cuzzo do it just ourselves. We have no help. It's just me and Cuzzo. And then you got to figure out distribution. Then you got to figure out social media. Then you got to figure out all this thing. So you being on Revolt, shout out to Datavio. That's the bro. He's been on
Datavio.
Shout out to Datavio. Yeah,
he was with him in October for Black Week.
That's what's up. And going back real quick, just to come in on the message of what I said earlier when I said what's for you is for you, right? Yeah. I remember seeing Datavio. I was with me and P. We were down at Revolt in Atlanta a couple years back. I was probably a year into the podcast. I didn't know who Datavio was, right? But I could tell by the way people were acting toward him, he was somebody. And so I'm literally feet away from him, but I didn't feel like it was the right time. It wasn't the right space because of the capacity that I'm here in. I'm here with P. They doing business with P. It just didn't feel like the right time. So I literally sat back. I sat back and didn't say nothing. And so fast forward probably 6 or 7 months, you know what I mean? I end up with Revolt, and Detavio ends up pitching me over there. You see what I'm saying? So what's for you is for you. What God has for you is for you. You know, I didn't rush it. And as I've gotten older, I learned that, brother, like what's for you is for you. It's all in God's time. I wasn't thirsty. I was like, well, I'm gonna keep working. It'll come. If I'm supposed to do that, then it'll happen. And it did. But to go back to your question, learning the business, I'm still learning, you know, because things are always changing, you know, and you know, that's just life. You know, you always are pliable and are a sponge because things are always changing. Before the podcast, bro, I had never posted a video to YouTube. I'm not the techie dude. I didn't understand social media.
Yeah.
I didn't really do that shit. You know what I mean? I'm from the 90s, so I was just doing the bare minimum and really just I had a profile just to see what everybody else was doing, you know. But again, you have to be a student of what it is that you do. And yes, I see a lot of people, they think that the podcasting is like the new rapper. You know, everybody think they can get a camera, get a mic, get a couple people, we gonna talk, we gonna turn up and we gonna blow up and go viral. No. Most people are not gonna last because they're not gonna be consistent. Because in totality, a lot of people are doing it. That's why I say I don't chase money, because when you're chasing money, that only applies in the street because that's all it is. But anything else, you know, legitimate, you would really have to have a passion for it because you're not going to yield the results immediately like that. So you have to love it, you know, and then when you're doing something you love, the money will creep up on you and you'll be like, oh shit, yeah, this is what it is, you know? So yeah, I had to learn it just trial and error, to be very honest with you. I did get a lot of game from shout out to Steele from Gangster Chronicles. He used to lace me with game and give me advice and different things like that. But I studied, man. I just studied what everybody else was doing. I paid attention. I made the necessary changes. That's the other part. I tell people all the time, you can be stubborn with your goals, but you have to be flexible with your methods, you know? Yeah. So, you know, I learned what wasn't working, what was working. You know, you tweak this, tweak that. You learn thumbnails. You learn the back end. You learn, you know, there's so many things that you learn. You know, y'all know. So, yeah.
Trust me, we know. We know that.
You know, I'm about to tell you, stop talking. I got to clip this right after. You over there going crazy. Look at no more clips, God.
But you know, Court, like being a student of the game and having an open mind and being willing to learn, I think is something that a lot of people are missing, right? And anything in my career, like I don't know if you can see, I'm in my studio right now. You understand what I'm saying? I still got my studio. I've done music. I was in the Source magazine, the whole shit, right? I've been doing this a long time, right? But people ask me like, yo, I don't understand how you do so much. Like you rap, you engineer, you produce. I said, because I never stopped learning. See, it was always for me a need that needed to be filled, a problem that needed to be solved. Well, if me and Cuzzo were doing this and Cuzzo's doing all of this work, but then this needs to be done. It doesn't matter if it's in my job title, it's in his job title. It's does this need to be done? And if he's already busy doing that, then I have to learn this, right? And vice versa, right? So it's always us learning, right? We do a podcast, but guess what we do, Court? We visit other people's podcast summits. We can't even tell you how many podcasting summits and events that we have paid to go to, and we sit there and we take notes and we listen and we learn in the same thing, right? And we learn and we learn and we learn, right? And we're not like, oh, just because we've had this guest or we've done these numbers that we know everything. That's the difference, right? It's the education is so important, and this is the message that we constantly preach. It doesn't have to be at a collegiate level. You go to a college, but it's the education of life, right? Learning whatever you want to be, you can be, but you still have to learn how to be the best at that, right? And because you might have mastered it at a certain point in time, life changes, society changes, economics change. Like you said, you have to relearn it again because those methods might not work no more, right? You understand? So we pride ourselves of being students of the game, and although it is a rough road, right? Although sometimes we get aggravated because we're wearing so many hats.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, and I don't really let it get to me so much because I wouldn't be sitting here and I wouldn't even be able to been able to accomplish what I've accomplished today if I hadn't been all of these things. That way, when I do hire somebody or we do end up working with somebody, I might not know everything, but I know if you're doing the right thing or you fucking me over very quickly. Very quickly, right? I know if you're trying to jerk me, I can listen to vernacular. Like when you talked about managers, I've been in meetings, right? I know CEOs personally. I've been in meetings and I've seen artists blow deals because their manager didn't know vernacular. They didn't know what a distro deal is. They didn't know what a pub did. They didn't know simple vernacular. Yeah. And then you get that Jay Jerker nigga contract.
Exactly. Yeah, got that last paper stapled to the contract.
Right. Then you end up in a bad position. So, I want to commend you on just driving home the fact that you have never stopped your educational progress. Understand from reading the dictionary and the things that your grandmother instilled in you and learning from people and having that integrity and taking a step back and saying, it's not my time. Right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
A lot of times we have relationships. Be clear. We have a lot of people in our decks that we can call, but we don't. You know how we get here? Because we don't ask them for nothing. Because
we don't ask them for nothing. Yes. That is the lesson that I tell people all the time. And this is why, it's funny because people have, internally and externally, the reason that me and P can be so close or me and Ice-T can be so close is because I've always been autonomous, meaning that I have my own life, my own things. I don't ask them for anything. And if I do, it's a collaborative thing. It's an opportunity that I'm bringing.
Makes sense. It's purposeful.
Value.
It's value. Yes, I'm bringing some value. It's, hey, listen, I got this play. We can do this and we can go get something or whatever the case may be. It's not me feeling entitled to their money or entitled to their lifestyle or entitled to their success. No, so a lot of people don't understand that part of it. And, I'll share something with y'all, like y'all said at the beginning, in terms of vulnerability.
Hold on, get the bell ready. You about to share some. Hold on. Sound like 7 period to me, man.
Period, y'all.
Sound like 7 period to me, man. I'm ready.
Yeah, just a thing, a personal journey and things that I've had to learn to that point is, the last couple of years I've had to find my footing with, social media. Us coming from the 90s, social media is an adjustment, I don't even have a lot of pictures from the 90s and the early 2000s because back then we didn't do the camera, especially if you was in the streets. We didn't do the camera because I need to be able to deny I know your motherfucking ass. So we didn't really do that. So, you losing your anonymity or willingly giving up your anonymity, and especially when you create a platform, you put yourself in the public forum to both be, praised and ridiculed, and you have to be okay with that. But what I've had to find my footing with is, people that entitlement, people, especially like, coming from your hometown, you mainly get it from your hometown. Mind you, I've been living in LA 22 years, but, finding my footing with thinking that I'm helping people, thinking that I'm giving people the game. And, minds like us, we take it, we soak it up. But I had to learn the difference between people saying, no, I don't want your help. I want what you have, And so I had to learn that part of it. Because here I'm thinking, well, damn, people, they not doing it because they just don't know. We know how valuable information is. But then when people aren't in a space to receive it, they take it as you critiquing them or talking down on them, But OG told me, he said, you know what you did wrong? He said, what happens when you give a plant too much water? It dies. It's like, so you got to give them a little bit at a time. You was feeding them too much. You was watering them too much, but that was coming from a good place of me wanting everybody to go. When my mother used to tell me as a kid, everybody can't go, even the Bible says the poor you will always have amongst you. And the poor is not just monetarily, but mentally, it's mental, it's a mindset. So I've had to find my footing with with just being okay with survivor's remorse. You know, when you've made it, you know, and you know, everything that I dreamed of having and dreamed of doing as a kid on my mongoose at 12 years old in Kansas City came to fruition, you know, from that point. Now, of course, when you get in, you realize there's levels to it, right? But at least I got into the building. So it's like, you know, everybody can't be LeBron, right? But you got some motherfuckers in the NBA who we kind of don't know, you know what I'm saying? They second stream. It's like, yeah, you made it. You got a salary, but you ain't got a shoe, nigga. You ain't got a jersey, you know? So it's levels to it, right? So, but from that point, you know, it's my thing was wanting everybody to go, you know, and I had to realize that that's just not possible. So, which is why I had created, you know, because I mean, I go with kids, I go with P, and we talk to kids, we mentor kids. I'm working on something in my hometown. Actually, me and Crazy Bone were talking about doing some things as well. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, that's why I created my Legacy Builders community, because I would get so many people that would ask me so many questions like, man, do you mentor? Do you do this? How do I get in shape? How do I be successful? And all of this shit starts with mentality. It all starts with mentality. You know, you can have all the resources in the world. And this is what I tell people. You can give a poor person, you know, $2 million. If they're not financially literate, if they're not educated, they're going to be broke in the next year or two tops. You know what I'm saying? So it's the information, it's the change of mentality and mindset. So, you know, my perspective has always been mindset strategies, you know, trying to get people to understand how you should be thinking. What successful people have in mind is how they think, no matter what space they're in. We still share a similar disposition. You know what I mean? So that's why I created Legacy Builders, you know, my community. And, you know, that's been growing really, really good. We've got over 1,500 members in it, you know, so far. Where we talk about real estate, we talk about podcasts. And a lot of people ask me how to, you know, create a successful and viable platform, you know. So if anybody want to go to that, you can go to iambigcourt.com and check that out.
We got a link in the comments. We got a link in the YouTube bio too, y'all. Make sure you get that, the description.
Yeah, for sure. So like I said, you know, just being a purpose. And one thing why I created the platform and just my whole mission at this point, you figure I'm 2 away from 50. I'll be 49 this year, you know. And, you know, the thing is people, they don't remember, you know, what kind of car you had, what kind of chain you had and all of that. People remember how you made them feel. So it's about what you lend to the human experience, you know. So for me, it's about whether I said something that inspired somebody, touched somebody, or, you know, I was able to give them a word of encouragement. You know, man, the best thing is when I get, you know, I had a gentleman that I don't even remember. I guess I was back in Kansas City in my court dog days. And he sent me a message and was like, man, he said, you probably don't even remember, but you fixed my bike for me one day in your garage, and you gave me a poster, and you told me I could do anything that I wanted to do in life. And I didn't remember it, but I said, that sounded about right, because that's what my mother used to tell me. You know what I mean? But that touched him, and that he carried that. I had another gentleman, he messaged me and was like, you probably don't know who I am. He said, but you know, my mother rented a house from you when I was a kid. And I was like, oh, okay, which house? And he told me. I said, oh, yeah, I do remember. And he was like, you was always so fair with my mom. You know, he was like, shit, I remember, because what I used to do with single moms, I would just let them slide during Christmas, December, if I knew they were struggling.
That's what's up, man.
And I could always, you know, I could already tell you was struggling. You know what I mean?
You to see,
Don't worry about it. You know, we pick it up in January. Just pay January. And so he said, because of that, you know, he was like, man, I own 5 properties now. And he said, I always just remember what you did for my mom. So
I love that, man. I love that, man.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Let me tell you, we learned a hell of a lot from you now, man. I'm going to tell the listeners too, bro. So first of all, we appreciate you coming on the show, bro.
Absolutely.
And like, for the listeners, this is our first time meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes it takes 20 touches in the outreach to hit somebody. I hit court one time. One time I was like, yo, bro, we love what you're doing, man. It means a lot if you pull up and boom, boom. almost instantaneously. Like, yo, King, would love to. Here's the email, here's this, then the third. Got up on the show, came through. And then for us there, we talk about relationships. Our guest last week is the one who introduced us to Serve.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
See?
Just the relationship. So, you know, we're going to be out there this week, bro. We love to build with you, man. And if
let me tell you, I just want to say for the listener and for the youngsters, the reason that I responded like that, he was professional. When I went and checked him out, they shit looked good. I could see what they was on. It's all about presentation.
Yeah.
It's all about presentation. Because see, I get people to get in my inbox that'll say, fuck with me.
Like, come on. Like, come on.
Hold on.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
I'll get motherfuckers to get in my inbox and say, yeah, shit. Hey, you need to get with me. Woo, 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 woo.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are you? Like, what? You know what I'm saying? So listen, a little bit of professionalism, a little bit of just couth and common courtesy goes a long way. So I could read the energy. I could read it through the text. It was like, okay, yeah, no problem, brother. I got you. You know what I mean?
Wait, before you go, Cuzzo.
No,
one thing that my cousin always preaches, and I second that, is respect the relationship. You see?
Yep.
You're reaching out to a person, doesn't matter who. Obviously, you want them to do something for you or something. Respect that the fact that if you're looking at them and you want them to come on your platform or do something, they're busy. They have something going that you admire, that they've built. You have to respect that, right? You have to respect that. Don't talk to them like they the homie, because they're not the homie. You have to build that relationship, right? So talk to them as if almost like a business interview, like a job interview. Like, you know, listen, you know, hey man, I admire what you do. Give them their flowers. Like, again, don't be afraid to give somebody their fucking flowers. Hey man, I admire what you do. I'm a fan. You know, this is what I'm doing. Even if it's not the right time now, I would love for you to take a look at, you know, what I'm doing, and maybe we collaborate later.
I mean, he introduced himself. Introduce yourself. State your business. I get motherfuckers to hit me like, such as just start talking. I'm like, hold on. Who are you? What do you want? You know what I'm saying? And again, I knew this as a teenager, right? Bio. Hey, to whom it may concern, good day. My name is such and such and such and such. I was doing that at 17. You know what I mean? So, and you know, you guys know how I know when you start trying to deal with these upper echelon guests, if you don't have rapport with them, you got to be on point. You got to, hey, listen, this is who I am. This is what we do. And let me give this another message to people.
Go ahead.
Please, bro.
Because when people, you said something very important. Don't take it personal if people don't get back with you ASAP and they not, you know, don't listen. Everybody got life going on. And I'm going to tell you why. There's been a few times, like we all have to, self-checking yourself and modulating your emotions, you know, because there's been times where it's been people that I may know that I may think holding their nuts on me. And I may get in my head like, oh, this funny act, this nigga, woo, woo, woo.
Right.
But I know how to check myself and say, well, no, it's not about you. You don't know what's going on. Just for that person to come back and say, you know what, my bad, bro. I know I've been offline for 2 weeks. My mother passed away.
There it is.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, now see, if I had been a narcissistic bitch ass nigga and went with my, oh, nigga, you funny. And he dealing with real life shit. So I tell people, everybody has something going on, you know, so it's about cultivating the relationship. I learned this early on, taking all of those no's and just, you know, having to follow through, man. You know, lose the entitlement. That's not going to get you anywhere. You know, humble yourself. Quit thinking that the world's supposed to stop for you and people owe you and you think you this and think you that. And hell, you may be. But even if you are, people still have lives. You know, people still have their thing going on. So I just want to put that out there.
No. Cuzzo, we, you know, I know you like to, you know, we have a segment where we always ask our guests a similar question. Cuzzo, you want to hit him with the mama I made it moment?
Yeah, let's do. We gotta ask you before you go.
You know what I'm saying?
What's the mom? You did everything.
Yeah.
On film, music, business. You're doing real estate, right? Now you're doing media. What is the one mama I made it moment where you just looked around and was like, yo, damn, we did it.
This is it.
This is it. This is what success looks like to me. This is what I wanted to feel like.
Yeah.
You know what? I would have to say the podcasting, bro.
Wow.
I would have to say that, yeah, to reach damn near 50. And I've had some of my childhood friends to tell me, like, bro, that's your lane. Like, that's your lane. Yeah. Even P was calling me. He was like, nigga, you like the ghetto Oprah. Like, you know, you like the hood Oprah. So
no.
That's the ghetto Oprah, P.
Yeah, that nigga was like the hood Oprah, nigga. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I done had gangbangers come on my show and cry. Right. You know what I mean?
Right,
so,
yeah.
So I think the podcasting, bro, and I know I'm sorry because I know y'all got time and shit. But
no. We was respecting your time.
You, bro. We can go.
Okay.
We can go.
I gotta tell this story.
Yeah, we can go. Yeah.
So this is what I say, what God has for you. I was a senior in high school, right? I was trying my best to graduate. I fucked up. For one, you got to remember I was in jail for damn near a year. You know what I mean? A year. So I missed a lot of school. So my senior year, I find out that, you know, in order for me to walk with my class, I had to have a full schedule, and I had to go to night school, and I had to take correspondence classes just to be able to walk with my class. And I knew I didn't want to hear my mama's mouth, so I had to do all that shit. Long story short, I'm in my senior English teacher, Mr. Connor, and I had to get up and I had to write a paper and I had to read the paper. And so now, mind you, my mind still ain't right. You know, I'm still gang affiliated. I got on the blue Dickies. I got on the starter coat. I got on the Cortez. It's the standard uniform, right? So I get up but then at the same time, I'm trying to graduate, so I don't hear my mama mouth, right? So I get up, I read my paper. So he was like, Richardson, he said, you speak very well. He said, you have a future in public speaking. He said, you speak very eloquent and you should consider that. And I remember feeling offended because I felt like he was disrespecting my gangster. You know, I'm like, nigga, I ain't smart like that. What is you talking about? You think I got a future, nigga?
What you talking about, homie?
Yeah, I'm like, nigga, I ain't smart.
Man, I'm intelligent, nigga. You trying to disrespect me?
I ain't smart, nigga. You know, so I'm on some bullshit, right? But
I love it.
Fast forward, 30 years, and he was right. You know, like he was right. You know, and so I found myself in a public forum speaking, and people wanting to hear me speak, people paying me to come speak, and I was like, Mr. Connor seen this shit when I was 17 years old, and I rejected it because I was on bullshit. So I'm just giving that. You just never know where the game is going to take you. And with that, you know, to the youngsters listening, you know, lean into your strengths and your gifts, cultivate those things. Those are the things that you know, you want to get to the bag. In essence, those are the things that's going to get you to the bag, you know. So when you're doing things that you love, so it's the irony of that. But to go back to what you were saying, yes, I think the podcast, to be able to, you know, get my message out to the masses, to be able to be recognized for the right things. You know, I go viral over just regular conversation, not salacious and gossip.
Right.
So and me not chasing virality, you know, to where I'm selling my soul and integrity. And to have the type of guests that I have to respect the platform to the point now where there's other celebrities and their teams that's reaching out to me, and when they're doing their rollouts, I'm a part of that, you know, because I feel like I have that social currency, you know what I mean? Right. So, and then to have my daughter with me, to have that child that I had at 16 years old, and to watch her, you know, blossom, and to watch people grab it. And then because she's so articulate and she's so intelligent, and like, damn, I had you at 16, like shit, you know what I'm saying? And you know, so I would say, you know, in terms of the things I have done, it would be that.
I love it.
I love it. You a splitting image of us, bro. I swear to God, everything you say, bro, like, we're the same shit. I ain't gonna lie. I'll give it to you. I'll tell you mine real quick. That was one of my favorite moments, bro. I don't know if I shared this, but it was when Case ended the show with Dr. Knowles. So my son is 6 years old. He just ended the show yesterday. We sitting there partying yesterday. My son is on his iPad in the room with my lady, and then comment, "I love you, Dad," like you watching the show. So I'm curious to see what that looks like. That means the world to me. So he sees what the grind looks like. Yo, Daddy could be in here playing this and doing this, but he's in here for 2 hours. He is working. For an hour afterwards, he's making these clips. He still gets up in the morning, still makes my breakfast, still does like it's those lessons, bro. So like the podcast, we've done a lot of dope shit.
Let's take it a step further. That's his youngest son. His oldest son, right? He has 2 boys. I have 2 boys, so I'm a little older. I'll be 46 this year, so I'm right behind you. You know
you right with
me and you right in the same lane, right?
Wait, hold on before you say that.
Wait, let that one go. No, the right behind you is not bad, man.
Court, I didn't like his tone.
Oh,
I didn't like his tone on. I'm right behind you.
You was with the whole episode. I wanted those. YouTube loves it, Court. They love it. But just to show you of the legacy of the lesson, right? So my youngest son and his youngest son, same age. They're 16. My oldest is 23. When we do events and we talk about it's a 2-man show, when we do events and we setting up this equipment, a lot of these events, you know who we got there with us? Our sons, our oldest, right? They're the ones setting up the camera equipment. They're the ones doing this, right? And we're teaching them because guess what? They see us working every day. They see us going to get to the bag. They see the life that we provide for them. But you need to see what earning it looks like, right? Because staying home and watching Daddy go to work and come home is different than going to work with Dad.
That's
and
right.
seeing us work relationships and seeing more successful people that you're like, oh shit, that's Allen Houston, and that's this one, and that's that one, and you're like, yeah. And seeing how we interact with people that are have a celebrity status or more successful than us and things of that nature, and seeing what it takes to be successful, even at the level that we are now. What that also does is instill that into them to say, like, this isn't free, right? Because there has to be balance, Court. And we talk about the balance of urban communities where we just want to give our children everything that we didn't have. So we grew up, I ain't have no sneakers and the Lee jeans, and you know what I'm saying? The cheese.
Let me give you something real quick. Let me give you something because I love that. I love that, man. Thanks to you guys because I'll do the same. So my daughter is my co-host. My youngest daughter is the BTS person. So she does all the behind the scenes. She does my daughter's makeup and she styles my daughter.
Oh,
and my
I love that.
Behind the scenes as well, right? So it's the same thing, right? People show up to the interview, especially if we shoot at the house or if we shoot at the soundstage, and they be like, I'll be like, yeah, it's my daughter, it's my son. They be like, that's your team? Yeah. You know what I mean? But to your point of like you said, they need to see something. Me and my daughter actually have a segment coming out, dropping this week, actually, where we actually talk about this because she was saying, as my daughter, she's 32, and she was saying that she's a tech founder, but how sometimes people think that all things are mapped out for her. Everything is afforded to her. And she was like, but no, it's not like that. She was like, my dad helps me. My parents help me, but I have to do my part. And the importance of that, of balance, because a lot of times we want to give our kids what we feel like we didn't have. But the bad part about that is if you look at our grandparents, especially you and I, our grandparents, they didn't have that many, opportunities. Our parents had a little more opportunity than them. We have more opportunity than them. But what happened was the weak kind of bared the strong. But then it goes in a complete circle.
I said that.
You see what I'm saying? Because we have to be careful because, we're strong. But now if we fuck around, we'll make them weak.
Weak again. That's right.
We make them weak. And I see this a lot with some of my wealthy friends. I've seen, man, they kids ain't shit because there was no sense of urgency placed there because everything is afforded to them. So why? There's no discomfort here. We got food, we got everything, we got access, we got resources. Fuck, I need to do something. Nah, some of that shit you need to take away. No, I got cars. What you gonna do to get you one? Right. You know what I'm saying? I got this. What you have to build a lane for you. Now I support you, but what do you want to do? You know what I'm saying? But you're gonna have to walk it. So I think it's important for a lot of us that have, been blessed enough to evolve and to be in a space where we can, do some things that maybe we didn't get, that we don't bear the weight.
I think
I do it for the children.
I think that's the true definition of generational wealth building.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the true definition of generational wealth building, right? Yes, having resources and being economically in a good place and financially in a good place, that's great. But if you don't have anybody that can actually handle the legacy that you are passing on, then your legacy will be destroyed. It might have taken you 4 generations to build a legacy and 1 generation to destroy it all. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's important to us. It's not only just trying to hand over a better life to our children, but to teach them how to earn it and then also how to maintain it. Right. And then once now that you know how to maintain it, now you know how to pass it on to your children. And that's the generational wealth building that me and Cuzzo feel so strongly about. And that's why, once again, having people like you on this show that come on, and tell the story about, I had a child young. 16. Like, I had my first child. I was 20, almost 21. Cuzzo, we was damn near grown. You was still fucking baby, right?
I was in high school. I was a junior in high school. Yeah.
Right.
Pressure, bro.
Hey, listen, my daughter was the flower girl at me and her mom's wedding. You know what I mean?
Right. So, it goes to show you that, again, like, you can make mistakes in life, right? But it doesn't mean that your story has to end there, right? And that's why, like I said, that's why we celebrate you. That's why we read off your accolades in the beginning, because our culture sometimes is very ignorant. If they don't see it, if they don't hear it, they don't fucking believe it. They don't believe that it's possible. But by people like you coming on, and that's why we constantly, not just once in a while, we constantly have people that come on with phenomenal stories like you, so that now we keep hammering it home, right? Because what they say about the circle, if you keep just promoting the ignorant shit, then they see and hear and believe the ignorant shit. But if we keep promoting the positive shit to say, you can be ignorant and you can learn from that, but there can be some positiveness and you can change your life, then eventually we will get them to learn and change from that. I love this show, man. This is why we do this shit right here.
That's what I do, man.
I appreciate you guys, man, and I appreciate y'all energy. Y'all on the same vibe that I'm on.
They calling right now. Hold on, they call. No. You got to get on your own, nigga. Send the proper email. Be professional. No, nigga, we not plugging you in. See them talking about court? It's the other podcast calling already, right? No, get your own shit. But listen, it happens every single show, so we know this for a fact, right? This is a phenomenal episode. There are going to be people that want to reach out to. There are going to be people that want to research and get in touch with your organizations. Please, brother, tell the people what's the best way to get in contact with you, how to get in contact with you, how to get in contact and find out information about the companies and the resources that you have.
Definitely. They can tap in at iambigcourt.com. You could tap in with me there. Tap in, join my school community called Legacy Builders University. Tap in with me. I'm always over there. We always having our lives and our meetings and different things like that. Of course, follow me at iambigcourt.com. At iambigcourt on IG. And then you can subscribe to Holdin Court Podcast on YouTube and on all streaming services, with Revolt TV. And then I also just want to throw out there, be on the lookout for me and Ice-T. We have our own fast channel and our own streaming service coming called OG Network. So, hopefully we'll be up and running by this fall. So, all you aspiring content creators and you directors, producers, whatever, you want to get your movies placed and just, put it in other places other than Tubi, because we're trying to provide, basically pick up the slack where Tubi left off, because they're making it harder to get placed on there. So the OG Network is going to be launching this fall. And so and again, my new movie called Interstate, that'll be dropping probably here in a few months, So
I love it, man. I love it.
First of all, bro, can you put your number in the chat? Because usually what we do with every guest, bro, we do a group chat, you, me, and Cuzzo, just so we can make sure we stay in touch. We're gonna be out there. This week, so we definitely want to link with you. Let's get a beer, let's break some bread or something.
So, you know how they say, what's meant for you will be meant for you, right? Just so you know, and we're fully transparent, right? We're supposed to be out there. this weekend in LA. We're actually supposed to go to an event this weekend, and we were waiting for like the confirmation. So we were talking about it, but we like, yeah, we waiting for the confirmation. We actually just got the text, and one of those phone calls was them actually trying to call us to try to confirm us going out there while we're on the podcast, right? That's what one of the calls actually was.
Oh, wow.
So you understand? Okay. So we might almost like, so we're going to have that call, conference that right after this, but we might almost definitely be out there. And we would love to, try to.
Yeah, let's grab something to eat, dinner on me.
But but if not, right, you are now part of the More Than a Title family, Court. And this is why we create this group chat, right? Because it's direct access to us. We don't do like the assistants and the managers and stuff like that. Let me tell you what that entails. We don't gatekeep on this show, right? Any guest that we've ever had on this show before you, and now that you're a part of the family, any guest that comes on the show after you now have immediate access to. Okay. Our guests understand this. We talk to them and we tell them this is the part of the community building, and they all have accepted it. We haven't had one no yet, right? We have made dozens and dozens of connections. All it takes is for you to see somebody or say, hey, bro, hit us and say, hey, I would like to maybe connect or talk to so-and-so. The vetting process is done because you've already been on the show. We've already vetted you for the show, right? So there is no, like, you know what I mean? Question is and not. We don't do that. What we normally do is you tell us who you want to, possibly link up with or get in contact with. We set up a video conference call. We'll all get on the call just to kind of break the ice. A, this is B, this is A. And then normally after that, we get off the call. We get off the call and we let you guys develop the relationship however you see fit. That is what we do, right? So welcome to the More Than a Title family. You now have access to our resources because this is the only way that this works. We are a village. It takes a village to raise a king, but it also takes a village to help the king be the best king as possible, and run the land, and prosperity. So welcome to the family, man. We hope to see you. We hope to see you when we get out to LA. And we're gonna extend to you the invitation, man. If you ever in New York, man, let us know.
Red carpet.
We got to
it's snowing out here. You might not want to come out here with the snow, but
and listen, I reciprocate that same gesture, brother. Next time y'all out here, not this week because I won't be filming this week, but if you guys give me a heads up next time you in LA, then you're welcome to come in on my show as well.
Oh man, we appreciate that, man.
Yeah, y'all heard it first.
I gotta do it. I said it on camera. So it's one.
Now we appreciate that, man. But like I said, man, this is what we do, and like I said, we do this for real. And we live by this. And if there's any type of events that you're doing, man, that you need some type of promotional help or something like that, you want to get the word out, please, brother. I'm saying, please send us the information. We would be honored to help you spread the word about anything that you're doing because we see that you're moving in a positive manner. And again, our community needs to see and hear more positivity, man. I love this. See, that's why I said another phenomenal interview. So
take us home.
You already know. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, another phenomenal interview, another phenomenal guest, 180 some episodes. We haven't steered you wrong yet. We have Big Court come on here. He told you his story. He was intimate with you. He told you the mistakes that he made. He told you how he became a parent at a young age, and he showed you the growth and the prosperity of him just being consistent and him not taking no for an answer, which proves every single time what we keep saying to end off the show. The dream is free.
But the hustle is sold separately, y'all. We out here. Shout out to Big Court, man.
What you know about me? Seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me? I done it all, just want it all. Oh, what you know about me?